And welcome to another edition of International Soccer Break. I'm your host, Sahil, here with Rahi. We're talking African Cup of Nations. And let's talk a little bit about that Nigeria, South Africa semifinal. All you Nigeria fans out there, wow. That's all I can say.
Wow is correct. To all my Super Eagles fans out there, go exhale, breathe, go to the spa, go to the beach, take a moment and just relax because that game was a roller coaster of emotions like I've never ever seen before. Man, Nigeria likes to put us through the ringer. I have never seen that swing of emotions. To go from being 2-0 up to effectively having a foot in the final to then conceding a penalty in the same sequence, South Africa tying it and then going to penalties. I need to take a break. I need to just go away for a minute and relax. And I don't know what to make of this. I've never seen a game like this. Somehow Nigeria is in, but I don't know how the heck they did it. My goodness.
It was wild. Now, as on the whole of the match, Nigeria deserved to go through. But
yes.
But there was one segment, and we're going to talk about that particular segment now. Right? So for the fans out there who didn't see this match, firstly, I suggest watching the highlights or watching the whole replay because it's one of the most crazy games.
Then watch it. If you're okay with the roller coaster that comes along with it, then watch the match. But
yeah,
be wary. Be wary.
It's one of the craziest matches I've seen in of all. It's one of the craziest matches I've seen generally. So here's what happened: Nigeria goes ahead through a penalty, and then it looks like Victor Osimhen has finally broken his curse in the tournament and scored the goal to put Nigeria 2-0 up. It's about the 84th minute or something, somewhere in there.
Later than that, I think it was 86th.
Yeah, 85th, somewhere in there. So anyhow, that happens. Then, when they're reviewing the goal, and the question is whether they would have reviewed this happening if the goal hadn't been scored. So
they wouldn't have. That's the crazy thing.
We'll talk about that. But VAR reviews the goal, disallows the goal because on the other end, before the goal started, there was a foul, a very close foul by a Nigerian defender on the South African defender, awarded penalty South Africa, tie up the match.
And the crazy thing is, if you watch that live, as we did, it didn't even occur to you at the moment. The tackle was so close, you thought, okay, they win the ball. It's a goal. And you don't even think for a second that it could be a penalty the other way. And Victor Osimhen has to be the unluckiest man in the history of the African Cup of Nations. If there is a record for most disallowed goals scored, my goodness, he'd win the Golden Boot. Golden Boot for disallowed goals scored. He scored disallowed goal after disallowed goal. And this is incredible because if you're a Nigeria fan and if you're watching the game, you go from we're in the final. We're in the final. Osimhen taps in. Relax. Kick your feet up. Have a beer. It's done. To, wait a second. A penalty to South Africa? We're going to extra time? We're going to penalties? I have never seen a swing of emotions quite like that. VAR has had a lot to say about different games at different times over the course of its history in the recent past, but my goodness, that was the biggest swing of emotions I've ever had as a result.
That was the biggest swing in VAR probably in the history of VAR. And
I don't know if that's happened before. Have we ever seen that before?
I don't know. I mean, maybe some deep, maybe there's like a deep cut somewhere in some match in who knows where that maybe something like this has happened. But as far as I can remember, in major tournaments, this has never happened. Furthermore, when we talk about unlucky, it's one thing Victor Osimhen to get a bunch of goals disallowed, right? And that in and of itself is highly unlucky. But then to get a goal disallowed, and because of that goal you scored, because of that, they reviewed a potential foul in your own box, and then to put your team technically, if Victor Osimhen never scores that goal, Nigeria probably wins 1-0.
Probably. I don't know if they review the play if he doesn't score. It's insane.
It's such a little bit of a ticky-tack foul that they probably wouldn't have reviewed it.
And then, by the way, if you're a Nigeria fan, heart and mouth, 4 or 5 minutes later, South Africa has a glorious chance, an absolute glorious chance to win the game in the last minute. And that if you're watching that moment, you're saying to yourself, my God, it's done. Like, this is it. Like, they have decided somewhere up above, somebody has decided that Nigeria is not going to win this tournament.
Yeah. And that's the wild thing, because literally that should have been a goal. That was a wide open opportunity for South Africa. I don't know how he missed that. That's incredible. So despite all this, Nigeria gets through, and I don't care what anyone says. I have been convinced now over the course of watching penalties for a long time that you can take penalties and you can throw everything out the window. You know, everyone was talking about how good the South African goalie was, and he saved 4 penalties last match, and that's never happened before, and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't matter. Penalties doesn't matter. You can say, oh, this team always is playing well in penalties, always scores well. That's nonsense. Anyone, and I'd be happy to debate on this show and future shows, whatever, anyone who says that, because what I've seen with my own 2 eyes is there's no rhyme or reason to who wins penalties.
Agreed. There really isn't. And it's incredible that a player who for the longest time in this tournament has been completely out of favor, has not got a single minute in this tournament because the coach, for whatever reason, doesn't want to play Iheanacho. And for him to convert the final penalty, what a moment, right? In the biggest moment, he's the one who wins it for Nigeria and allows the Super Eagle fans to exhale and to say once again, this could be the year.
Yeah. Now, who will they face in the finals? You get through this crazy, ridiculous match against South Africa, and all due credit to South Africa.
Yes,
you know,
but the Bafana were excellent, and they were in fact equal to Nigeria. Right, they were a worthy opponent. They created as many opportunities as Nigeria did. Nigeria is a very good team, and in many ways they deserved to win this game. But South Africa kept coming, and they really created enough to get what they deserved out of this game. In the end, penalties is luck, right? It's hard to win 2 penalties in a row. But all credit is due to the Bafana.
And best of luck to them in this 3rd place match, because you know that's something that hopefully they do win. So that was that. But now, who's Nigeria going to face in the final? So it took us a lot of difficult ways to get here, but we have gotten, the dream final that everyone wanted with Cote d'Ivoire.
And I mean, there is so much juju and so much magic on both sides and strange happenings, right?
Yeah.
On the one side, you have Cote d'Ivoire, a team that was dead and gone after the group stage, had no business being in this round of the tournament. And then they fired their coach, by the way, and then somehow find a way into the round of 16, beat the holders Senegal, find a way to keep progressing. Diakite with that incredible flick. This is a team on a mission.
Yeah, they played very well this match, but even in this one, the goal that was scored by Haller, it was one of the strangest goals I've seen, and it was just happened to be where he kicks it into the ground and it loops over the goalie, and because the Congolese goalie had come out at that perfect angle where he couldn't get back to the ball, it was an extremely interesting goal. I don't think I've seen goals like that. So it was a very interesting day as a whole. And of course, after he scores, he of course is their hero. He's all over the country and his posters everywhere and everything like that. And I think for Cote d'Ivoire fans, after that, of course, the stadium went insane and you can't hear anything. So it's going to be a very, very interesting match going into the final. They're going to have Cote d'Ivoire's home field advantage, and Nigeria has beaten them once already. And they're going to say, okay, we are the team of destiny. But is it going to be the home team that's the team of destiny, or Nigeria that's the team of destiny? We don't know what's going to happen here.
I don't know. One of 2 things can happen. Cote d'Ivoire can ride the magical luck they've somehow found since the group stage. Or Victor Osimhen, the man himself who won the penalty for Nigeria, the main man for that team, can finally find the reward that he deserves. Maybe his luck will turn. And that's what I believe may happen, that a man who has in many ways carried Nigeria to the final despite not scoring. If he finds the luck that has not come his way, then maybe Nigeria finds a way to win this game. If it's the host and the magic that they've had throughout the tournament past the group stage, then maybe it's them. But for me, I do believe that this single individual is due, that there's something that he's going to be rewarded with, and he may take over this final. And it might be just the difference between if wonderful Cote d'Ivoire side that has refound their form and a Nigeria side that has, I think, the player of this tournament, and that's Victor Osimhen.
So everyone out there, we've had a great time watching the African Cup of Nations. This has been the best African Cup of Nations, and I say that objectively. This is not a recency bias. This has been the best African Cup of Nations I've ever seen, and I just hope that the final will live up to it. Super Eagle fans, we won't choose any sides, but we got a little soft spot for a certain team in green. But best of luck to Cote d'Ivoire as well. The Elephants, to both teams, and let's hear
the home nation.
The home side. So it's good stories both ways. But let's hear both of you, Super Eagles fans, the Cote d'Ivoire fans. Let's hear you in the comments. And if this sounds like something you've been enjoying watching and you're liking the videos, please go and subscribe to the channel. But we'll be there for the final on Sunday, covering it, talking about it. Best of luck to Cote d'Ivoire. Best of luck to Nigeria. Keep watching the beautiful game. Keep watching the African Cup of Nations. Go African football. That's what I'll say today, because it's been an absolute gem to watch this.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.